welcome to the No Spin News, Wednesday, August 13th, 2025. Stand up for your country. So you may have seen me take apart Ambassador John Bolton the other night on News Nation. We invited him on the program, but he, of course, is not going to come up against me in a million years. Bolton is a Trump hater, and his analysis of the Trump-Putin meeting in Alaska is it's going to be a failure, it's going to be terrible, it's this, that, and the other thing. A bunch of nonsense. Well, Bolton is going to go on News Nation, Leland Vittert tonight, 9 Eastern Time, and then I think they run it again at midnight Eastern Time so the Pacific people can watch. And Leland, he's armed and dangerous because he spent 20 minutes talking to me about people who are undermining national and international security because they hate Donald Trump. And that's what it is. It's as simple as that. And the other thing, I just cut a message for radio. Imagine Kamala Harris up there on Friday talking to Vlad Putin. Putin would even return Biden's phone calls. He was that disrespectful about it. He knew he was that weak. Can you imagine Harris doing that negotiation? I'm sorry, you can be a Democrat all day long. You can be a liberal. You can hate Trump. Just think about that. Okay, so we're on this deal, and we will give you honest reporting. And we openly hope that Donald Trump can stop the madness, the bloodshed, at least, get some kind of framework for a deal on Friday. The Talking Points memo is about fanatics. And I mean, this is just amazing to me, who would rather see people die than give in to politicians they oppose. And I'm going to run about, it's not going to be more clear of this, but also in that analysis, people pay most of these pundits. Big corporations pay them to do this. So the first thing is the Ukrainian situation, which I am hoping there will be a 30-day ceasefire come out of this on Friday. I'm hearing that is possible. Okay? But it's not going to matter because the Trump haters are going to hate. Roll the tape.
It's terrible because we're throwing the Ukrainians under the bus and playing right into Putin's hands. And on the other hand, it's terrible because it's not going to work.
We have to recognize that the big difference between the president and the Europeans and Zelensky is that essentially the Europeans and Zelensky do not want to lose the war. And it does seem that Donald Trump is managing a loss.
Seem to whom, madam? I mean, it's just absurd. Managing a loss? In what capacity? We're sending high-powered weapons to Ukraine. We have organized a response to Putin that is hurting him. Managing a loss? This is the kind of dishonesty. Maybe it's stupidity. Maybe she's just dumb. And the other guy, too. I don't know them. All right, then you get the reason that Trump is going to Alaska isn't to save lives in Ukraine. No. It's to divert attention away from Epstein. Go.
He wants to distract you. He wants to distract you from the damage his tariffs are doing to our economy. He wants to distract you from Epstein.
You need to continue to move forward, and you need to not let him divert the media attention away from things like the economy and the Epstein files. Though that is what he is trying to do here.
This is absolutely a distraction from the president's domestic woes, whether it has to do with the Epstein files or the jobless rate.
The jobless rate? Gets 4.3. This is, but remember, these people are paid to do this. They hate him. There's no doubt in my mind they hate him, Trump. But they're paid to do it. Just keep that in mind. Now, when you get this kind of political propaganda out constantly, over and over, not just in the United States, but in Europe as well, certainly in Ukraine, that Trump is a bad guy, he doesn't care about Ukraine, he's trying to get away from Epstein, all this nonsense, that a lot of people believe it. Okay, they just believe it because they don't know, and they hear it over and over and over and over again. Now, CNN did some honest analysis the other day. A guy named Harry Enton, he's their chief data analyst. He puts out that the Epstein story is pretty much dead. It's down 89% in 3 weeks as far as Google searches are concerned. That's a colossal drop. So Americans, they've had enough of Epstein for now. But here's an interesting thing. This will be revived in September because the House Oversight Committee is subpoenaing all these people to come on in and talk about Epstein. And the person that has most to lose is Bill Clinton, former President Clinton. So I asked my staff, research what they have on Clinton. This is fascinating. So Clinton apparently took about 18 trips on Epstein's plane. And then my staff says it's not true that Bill Clinton went to Epstein's island. And that's what I have. Not true. And my staff's the best. I went, I don't think that's accurate. So I, your humble correspondent, kicked into reporter mode, and I found there are one sworn affidavit by a victim that Bill Clinton was on the island, and a guy named Doug Band, Bill Clinton's top assistant post-presidency, who traveled with Putin on Epstein's plane. He's told Vanity Fair they went to the Virgin Islands where Epstein had a property, Epstein Island. I found that out. Okay? My staff didn't find it out. Why? Because the mainstream media wouldn't print it. That's why. But I have people who know this case up and down and in and out. So I believe that Bill Clinton was on that island. I also believe that Donald Trump was not. He took 8 trips, okay? And most of them, I think all of them, were between New York City and Palm Beach, where both men had properties. Now, finally, this whole Epstein thing was a giant mistake by the Trump administration, but not a calculated mistake. It all began when Attorney General Pam Bondi submitted to an interview with Fox News. Go.
And one of the things that you alluded to, and this is something Donald Trump has talked about, the DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Not yet.
Okay, so that opened the door, and now it's the Trump haters trying to tie the president to Epstein in some kind of criminal activity. But I got to give the American people credit. They've had enough. But it will gin up again. If I'm Bill Clinton, I'm not happy about this. And he is not a well man. Bill Clinton is not a well man. They're going to subpoena a whole bunch of people, but that's the top risk. Homeowners, when is the last time you checked on your home title? If your answer is never, then this is for you. Scammers are stealing titles, and your equity is a target. Criminals forge your signature. Just like that, your home title can be transferred out of your name. That's why I partnered up with Home Title Lock, so you can find out today if you're already a victim. Please use my promo code BILL at HomeTitleLock.com, and you'll get a free title history report. Plus, you will get a free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That's 24/7 monitoring of your title, urgent alerts of any changes, and if fraud does happen, they'll spend up to $1 million to fix it. That's HomeTitleLock.com, promo code BILL. New study. So this is important. It's not at the level of war and peace, but it's important. So last night I had a little dinner here on Eastern Long Island, and there were urchins, there in the dinner. High school kids and middle school with their parents and running around. And they're very interested in my upcoming book, Confronting Evil. Okay, because we got Hitler on the cover, we got Mao, we got Stalin, we got Putin. And then there's 12 other guys inside the book that are as evil as you can possibly imagine. Anyway, what's about? These are kids who are asking me. And I'm trying to explain it to them. They knew nothing about even Hitler. And I said, don't they teach you that? No, not taught. And then I looked at the parents, and the parents kind of embarrassed. And I said, well, it's hard to engage these kids in conversation because they're always on the phone. Every waking moment they're in the house. They don't watch TV anymore. Not watching TV. They're not reading books. They're on this. And it's very hard to get them away from that. Okay, and I think that is an accurate assessment of where we are in America. So there is a new study comes out of the University of Southern California. The Financial Times printed it, about 15,000 younger people, about the effects of the phone. And here are the highlights. 20 to 30-year-olds report being more easily distracted and careless. I see that in my own urchins. Okay? They're on the phone, they forget they got to clean the room or whatever they have to do. Reduced tenacity and follow-through on commitments. So, yeah, I'm going to do this, Dad, and it doesn't get done because they forget because they're on the phone. Okay? Then there is higher anxiety levels. Why? Why would that be? Because there's so much stuff they don't understand and so much negativity on the phones. Bullying, huge. Little kids getting bullied by name, getting destroyed in their communities, and kids are anxious about it. And less outgoing, people, they stay in the house instead of going out, jumping in the ocean or the pool or playing stickball and the stuff we didn't know. Nope, in the room with the phone. So joining us guy now from Brooklyn, New York is Colby Hall. You may know him. He's the founding editor of Mediaite. He wrote a column on how all of this stuff is going to negatively affect the United States big time, and it's coming up fast. Should I have included anything else in my lead before we get to the specifics?
No, I mean, I think you set it up wonderfully, but I also think that in one level, this is kind of obvious to anyone that has kids, or you go outside, you go to the park, everyone's on their phone. With the study, I thought sort of hung a lantern on was just how bad it's gotten. And no one's really talking about what an enormous, not just a generational shift, but a millennial historic shift. And we should start to talk about it because I fear it's going to get worse before it gets better.
But there has been talk in New York State, for example. There's a new law that bans phones in school during class time. They are concerned about the distraction, they being the authorities, but it hasn't risen to the level that parents are banging the emergency bell. And that's what I'm seeing. They allow the urchins to do this because if they don't, there's tension in the house. There's angst. Now with me, that never worked because I don't care about angst. So I'm going, there's no phones at the table, and it never was. And that put the phone down is one of my favorite phrases. And do this. But I'm a martinet, word of the day. But most parents, they let the kids do it. So I think it's the parents' fault. And I do think it's going to adversely affect this country.
Well, I think you're right. I think it's everyone's fault, but the parents are the ones that are responsible, right? I also abide by a no phones at the dining room table ethos as well. And I'm proud to say my 22-year-old reads books. He's a big reader. My 18-year-old is not. And maybe that's because one just graduated from college, the other's about to go to college. But this is an issue where we need to figure out how we the genie is out of the bottle. The genie's out of the bottle and has got his own TikTok account and is distracted enough to try to solve this, right? I put in my column that I compared it to the Gutenberg, inventing of the printing press, which, changed it started the Renaissance. It spread knowledge and understanding of Christianity, and so many great things came from it. But the effect of that took centuries to unfold and for people to read across the world. This is the same thing, but it's unfolded over a decade, right? And so there's been no guardrails. There's been no you can't really regulate it because it is what it is. I think you make a very salient point that parents need to take a lead role and be a lot stricter about this. And I happen to think, I've done some research on this in the New York public schools. Turns out, who's the biggest fan of not allowing phones in schools are many of the students, because they want to have a break. The isolationism and the anxiety, the lack of consciousness. I think a lot of these kids that are addicted to their phones, they're somewhat aware of it. And when you force them to detox and, I don't know, play a parlor game or spend quality time with your parents or your friends, or, I sent my kids to summer camp mostly so that they wouldn't be on their phones and they would be playing, pick up baseball, wiffle ball, swimming, fishing, what have you. Not everyone has that opportunity, but I don't know what's the solution. I think we are at a point where we need to recognize it so we can try to detoxify our brains before it's too late, because I think we're raising a generation of zombies who don't even know what's wrong with them, right?
And they're not getting stronger. This makes you weaker. It makes you weaker mentally, and it makes you weaker physically because you're not out there exercising or anything like that. It's easy to isolate yourself in your room with the phone. And my 22-year-old, who I think is smarter than I am, he doesn't read many books, but he does research, and good research, on the stupid phone. But I have to explain to him that, look, you got to broaden it out, particularly if you want to be president of the United States, which I think he's got a shot at. All right? You can't just be a phone addict. Now, the thing that concerns me the most about mental health, and that's big in this country now, with all the addiction we're seeing, with all this violence we're seeing across our country. We are the most addicted, violent country in the world, okay? We are, and that's shocking because we are based on Judeo-Christian philosophy. But the urchins don't even know what Judeo-Christian philosophy is, okay? They don't know. So when I was teaching in high school, I saw the bullying in the halls. I saw it, I stopped it. And I stopped it sometimes in a very confrontational way. Now the bullying is on a machine. And they can tear kids apart, leading to suicides and all of that. And a lot of the kids don't tell their parents. They're afraid to tell their parents, all right, because they think the parents are going to run down to the school, or they're going to run to the kids' parents, and they're going to make it worse. That, I think, is one of the most dangerous aspects of this phone culture.
I couldn't agree more. And I think, you've worked in the media space for a long time, as have I. You've developed a certain level of skepticism, and you have a critical mind, and you can smell a scam a mile away, right? These young teenagers don't have that. They don't have the wisdom of those experiences. I mean, I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, right? And that's made me smarter, right? And I can see, a phishing scheme, a spam, some sort of, attack to try to steal your data. I can see that coming. A lot of these kids can't. Two other things. I mean, I think there's been this rise of, I was talking about this with Jonah Goldberg yesterday, who was he's a conservative thinker. He started National Review Online, and, he was kind of like a comedian. He was sort of a troll, and now he can't do that because the trolling behavior from the extreme left and the extreme right has kind of ruined it for everyone. It's no longer funny. It's just mean-spirited. And I don't think that kids are equipped to handle that. And then the one last thing I would say, this isolationism, people just get lost in their own phones. They don't want to, engage in the outer world.
Right.
And there's a lack of community. There's no faith-based living. There's no churches. People don't go to church anymore. And so there's a lack of community that is helping. Not every parent can do it on their own, but if there's elders in the community that can help out, that's gone away also. So it's a kind of a perfect storm of negative influences. I feel bad for our kids. We shouldn't blame them.
In a free society, there isn't legislation that can stop it, and the cruelty factor is rising. So because every tape of somebody being cruel is on that machine, TikTok or whatever it is. So the more cruel you are to your fellow man, the more
Right.
exposure you're going to get, and that they're just absorbing it like this. And it's real. It's not movie. It's not Terminator. Okay, this is real. And now the anesthesia fills in. I've seen it so much, it doesn't even affect me anymore. So
Right.
I don't know what the solution is. I know you can't legislate against the First Amendment. I do like all of this school stuff. No phones while classes are underway. And I think that we have to spread the word that parents have a responsibility. But the irony is some of the parents are worse addicted than their kids. Last word.
I think you're absolutely right. I think we can't solve this problem immediately, but recognizing it is the first step, and calling out adults to parent is a major first step, and take it from there.
All right. Thanks, Colby. Appreciate it very much. If you are handling your own books or relying on a bookkeeper, it could lead to inaccuracies, missed deductions, and cash flow blind spots. FYSI's team of seasoned accounting professionals, corporate and tax attorneys manage every journal entry, bank reconciliation, and month-end close with precision, delivering clear, timely financial reports. They incorporated advanced tax avoidance strategies into your bookkeeping to capture deductions before you file. And they connect you with industry leaders and referral partners for growth opportunities. Set up your free consultation to learn how FYSI's experts can transform your books into a growth engine and accelerate your business to the next level. Act now to claim your free $5,000 business assessment, available for a limited time. Please go to FYSI.com/bill. Use promo BILL, or you can call 800-877-4000 today. The American dream is changing. Forget the white picket fence. Today it's about getting out of debt. If rising prices and credit card bills are weighing you down, there is hope. Done with debt. They don't offer loans or push bankruptcy. Their expert negotiators go straight to your creditors, cutting what you owe, wiping out interest, eliminating penalties. They fight until your debt is gone. Most clients see more money in their pocket the first month. You've worked too hard to let debt win. With Done With Debt, freedom is possible. Please visit donewithdebt.com. Talk with one of their experts, completely free. But some of their solutions are time sensitive, so don't wait. Please go to donewithdebt.com. Again, donewithdebt.com. All right, here is a final thought today. You remember this guy, Terry Moran, big shot ABC correspondent, had a very prestigious position for Disney. Very prestigious. All right. So he got fired because he called President Trump and Stephen Miller, top White House advisor, haters or some immature, ridiculous thing, and they sacked Moran. So now Moran's running around. He won't come on with me, of course, saying unbelievably dopey things on the internet. This is about how reporters have to conduct themselves. Go.
We must use the language of values in covering the world, because the world is made up of that, of right and wrong, of love and hate. And if you can't, as a journalist, describe and perceive those values at work, good and evil, then you aren't really doing your job. You're collecting a paycheck, and it was a pretty good one, but you aren't really doing your job.
What a bunch of nonsense. If you're a commentator, you can do that, not a reporter. So, for example, I'm a Roman Catholic, right? I don't believe in abortion, okay? Now, I'm supposed to report any abortion story from my Catholic point of view as a reporter. I'm supposed to bring my theological values into the public square and demean and diminish anyone who disagrees with those. That's how stupid this guy Moran is. All right? But it's not stupid born of ignorance, because he's not ignorant. It's arrogance. And that is the key when you watch the network news, the cable news, PBS, NPR, all of that stuff. These are arrogant people. They think they know more than you. They think they are better than you because their values are up here. And if you don't subscribe to those values, if you are pro-life, then you need to be attacked. You need to be destroyed, harmed. That's what this Moran idiot wants to bring to the table. I mean, it's just shocking. And the other clown interviewing him is the same guy. Sit there like this. Yeah, that's right. All reporters should just report on their own value systems. What? Oh, my God. But that is what is in play with all of these corporations. They hire people like this, arrogant people. And that's why it's all falling apart. And that's why you're here watching the No Spin News tonight. I'm going to take tomorrow off because I am delirious. I have to take it off. We will be here tomorrow. Not tomorrow. See how delirious I am? I don't even, damn it. We will be here on next week. Monday, and then through the week on BillO'Reilly.com, I'll tweet about the Trump-Putin summit. I'll have a new column on Sunday. We'll do all of that. But I got to take some time off. I am seeing spots before my eyes here. All right? Thanks again for watching. We'll see you on Monday. Thank you for watching. To view full episodes of the No Spin News anytime, sign up to become a BillO'Reilly.com premium or concierge member today.